was heading to Rovereto, a city
It's quite fascinating, right?
at the north of Lake Garda. Not quite on the lake, but at the north.
I didn't even come here for this bit.
This next part of the trip, of course, if the hotel has a pool, I'm going to make this a pool, was fully based around me finding a picture of a place on Google Maps. Because of this one place, I went to Lake Garda. It's amazing how a place that took me 5 days to get to, I can get on a bus and I can go back to where I started in 1 hour. Today I leave San Marino. I'm going to go to the north of Lake Garda and walk down one side of it, the whole one side, in 4 days. The bus ride back just offered views from San Marino and of San Marino all the way through the Emilia-Romagna countryside until I arrived at Rimini. Rimini was just a quick transfer for me. I was happy to be back, but then it was straight off.
And I'm back where I began, in Rimini station, to go to Bologna and somewhere else. And I need to get a ticket from somewhere.
The train ride to Rovereto was beautiful. The rolling green hills slowly changed more and more to mountains, and mountains with snowy peaks.
I think I'm just realising how mountainous and how pretty this is.
The town of Rovereto was pretty and it was quiet.
There's one landmark I saw that I thought, let's base a whole segment of my trip around this one landmark.
But soon I was going up the hill towards the landmark that I had planned this part of the trip around.
The amount of elevation bothers me.
I would frequently stop just to take in the views of the hills and the mountains around.
It's quite fascinating, right? I didn't even come here for this bit. Isn't that crazy?
It was stunning. I soon arrived at the Campana dei Caduti, or the Bella Piece. One of the fun facts about me, my weird niche hobby, is that I'm a church builder. And I happened to find, while scrolling around on Google Maps, a picture of a very large bell. And that is why I came to Lake Garda. This is the largest full peal bell in the world. For almost 100 years, it has been giving out 100 chimes every evening in remembrance of those that have fallen in the war. This was a very peaceful place to spend some time in. And I've not been anywhere quite like it. I walked through all the flags and down the trails to continue on with my journey, continuously having the mountains as my backdrop.
That must be something to see it swinging. To see it actually toll. I assume it's just tolling, not going full circle. But that must be something to see it toll. Maybe one day. Gives you a reason to come back, doesn't it?
Coming down off the hill, I went back through town with some very nice Italian architecture.
Now I'm going to take a slightly slower route that takes me next to the river. Look at that, that's much better. Much better.
Before following the river path to Mori, where I'll be staying the night. The second morning would see me start by walking through the valley, where there were wineries.
Hello, cow.
This morning was surprisingly cold, not quite as cold as the past few days.
Walking to Lake Garda. I'm very much looking forward to the next couple of days. It's going to be hopefully sunny, which it is at the moment, and hopefully it'll warm up. Hopefully. It was 17 or something yesterday, that's what it got to. But yeah, morning walking again. Getting used to it after San Marino. I'm used to the elevation, so it should be alright. Yeah, and then we see Elisa. Let's go.
I walked through the little villages on my way to Lake Garda, but I first stopped off at a place that was supposedly an island.
It's really nice to walk alongside this smaller lake on the way to the bigger lake, but there appears to be no lake. It looks very dry for a lake. So this is meant to be a lake. This is the island of the lake.
Lago di Loppio. On Google Maps, this says it's an island, and it says that there's a load of water. It was a nice little detour, just to stop, look around and see a place that used to be.
Well, that was a fun little side quest. Didn't know that you could actually, firstly, get onto that, and secondly, that it had ruins on it. There you go. You learn something new every day. Lago di Loppio. Not much of a lake.
Just before getting to Lake Garda, I stopped off to get a quick coffee and pastry at a gas station style diner. They had really good music there. That's the main reason why I stopped there, because I was walking past, the door opened, and I heard some 60s music.
We love a map. So let's put this into perspective. So I got the train into Rovereto. I walked and I stayed in Mori, somewhere around here. And then I've walked along here. This is where the island was. There wasn't much of a lake. And then down here, and then I've sort of cut through this little bit of cliff here, and I'm somewhere around here.
The next part of the walk would involve going on stairs and paths that are bolted onto the side of the cliff. This is a bit more of a popular path, so there were a few more people around.
I'm going to go and do this little bit of walk here, and I'm going to end my day. I don't know if it's not on here or if it's just below here, but that's where I'm ending my day. Yeah, that's quite far.
Rightfully so. It offered amazing views of the lake and the mountains and towns surrounding. Because of the busyness of it, it wasn't necessarily my favourite part of it, but you can't complain too much when you're constantly greeted by these views. If you're afraid of heights, then the open grated floor, I could see it being a struggle, but it's just incredible.
Incredible path. Just too touristy for my liking. So all in all, what do I think about that part of the hike? I think that the pictures I saw online with the railings and that were pretty cool, so I thought, hey, let's do this because it looks cool. Maybe on a Sunday, there wasn't that many people, but it's still more people than what I'd find ideal for that narrower trail. I'm glad it wasn't wider, because otherwise you'd have people stopping all over the place. But yeah, it's good. It's definitely worth a visit. If you're scared of heights or don't like heights, it's definitely going to challenge you, that's for sure. Especially with the open stairs. But yeah, that's fun. That's good. I like it. I like this. This is what I like. The good views.
Towards the end of it, people were turning around and going back the other way. I instead went down to the main road to catch a bus to continue on, as there weren't really many other path options. This bus would take me down to Navene, where I would be staying. The bus ride continued the theme of just good views, and when I got to Navene, I just sat by the edge of the water just to take it all in before going to the hotel. My dinner was a really nice pasta carbonara dish while I was just staring at the lake. I have the view that I was looking at while eating just etched into my brain because I was just staring at it for so long and the sun was just reflecting off of it. After dinner, I just went along the lake back to the hotel very slowly, taking my time just to enjoy it for a bit. So the final mission of the day is, since I've paid for a hotel with a pool, I'm going to go and make use of the pool, even if it is March. Since the hotel had a pool, I went for a cold dip in the evening. I also made some friends with other tourists because they thought I was really crazy for jumping in the water when the water was this cold. The next morning, I took another dip in the pool just to freshen up. Of course, if the hotel has a pool, I'm going to make use of the pool. Before having breakfast and leaving. I think this is the day where tiredness maybe caught up with me a little bit. And just the general flatness sort of maybe caught me out today, as I had been hiking through mountains and countryside in the past week, and obviously next to a lake it was a lot flatter and maybe a bit samey, but I was in Italy with really good views, so looking back on it I'm super happy.
Just left the Hotel Sol, even though because of where it put stars it looks like it says Hotel Shithole, but pretty good hotel. Made use of the pool. This is full day number 2, or day number 3 effectively, of walking down Lake Garda, which is this lovely lake. Isn't it beautiful? It really is actually. I've had the most relaxing, I've got my gloves stuck on my tripod. I've had the most relaxing afternoon yesterday. Just sort of strolling up and down here, along the beach, etc. Beach, that much of a beach. And having a lovely dinner, and I jumped in the pool this morning.
I could see Malsicine in the distance, just by the castle that was sticking out. It's quite a sight to see as you're walking into it. Being able to see the castle for kilometre after kilometre after kilometre, and it just makes for such an iconic shot.
I forgot to mention, I was literally on a call with Elisa last night, and I realised that I haven't actually booked a hotel, or I hadn't actually booked a hotel for tonight, which I clearly forgot to do, so I did like 5 minutes of scrolling and just booked a cheap room. So we'll see what that's like. Adventures.
There's a couple of little harbours and villages along the way that were just so quiet and still and calm that I could just stop and relax for a few minutes. There were so many spots along the way to just chill and grab one of my snacks out of my bag. My legs were definitely getting tired by this point. Continuing on with more breathtaking views either way. As a kid trying to do a wheelie on a pier, somehow didn't end up in the water. It turns out that I'd actually made it quite far down the lake. It seemed like every town that I passed through trying to look its best, with flowers, with tidy paths, with clean streets, beautiful architecture. I feel like I just keep repeating myself. I stopped in a restaurant for lunch. Before continuing on with the harbour. In the second part of the day, there was definitely some sort of greying over of cloud.
No, this is gonna rain though. This is gonna rain.
Which, because I'm used to the weather in the mountains, I maybe overreacted to and put on my full spray suit, which I probably didn't need to do looking back at it.
Let's get the camera wrapped, because that is my main concern. I think I need to find a bit of shelter if possible, because this looks like it's going to be about 20 minutes maybe. So if I can find a shelter somewhere along the way, that would be grand.
It was also a decision I made when I was rather tired, and I probably just needed to take in a little bit more sugar and a little bit more water at this point.
It's effectively stopped raining, you know. So I very much overreacted to that rain. I put everything on, put plastic on the camera, and it then just stopped essentially, and I just became very hot because it's now very sunny.
I realised last night that I thought that I hadn't booked anywhere to stay, so I quickly booked a cheap place. As I was approaching that place, the weather started to shine again.
This mountain here, just the shape of it, looks like the Evian logo, like the water company.
And when I got into the place where I was staying,
Hello? Buongiorno?
I discovered that there were bugs all around, and I thought, I can't do this.
Hello, bug. Look at that, he moves. I'm not staying here. I've just cleared up a load of dead flies as well, so I'm not staying here.
I didn't want to sleep with all the bugs.
It turns out that I did actually book an accommodation, it just didn't save in my Google Calendar. So I'm going. No, I'm not staying. The thing is, she's lovely. The host is very lovely, very accommodating, etc. But when there's bugs in a bed, I'm not staying. So I'm going to catch the next bus to where I actually booked, but it didn't save in my Google Calendar and it didn't save anywhere, so I didn't actually know about it. I don't know where I get the bus from. Give me a minute.
So out I went, and I got the bus.
And as if by magic, my knight in shining armour has arrived.
Now that I'd just done a quick run, I was full of energy, so I got off the bus early and decided to walk a little bit further, which included a small road walk, then a path down to the beach.
This is not an ideal path. I'm literally on the road. I got told to walk beside the road for 5 minutes, and then there should be a path down to the beach,
where I would walk around to Garda. Yes, that is Garda, as in Lake Garda. This is the city.
So, what the hell have I just done? Let's start from the beginning of last night. So I was calling Elisa and I was looking up where I was staying, and I realised that I missed a day, effectively, with my booking. So I'd missed tonight. Realising that I'd missed a night, I then spent 5-10 minutes maybe looking up a place, whatever, booking it. I wanted it to be cheap because reasons. And yeah, made that booking. Cool. It's about 25-30k or whatever from where I was at the time. That's good. That's all doable. It's all flat. It's gonna be a nice day. Whatever. Fast forward to about 30 minutes ago. So I check in. I say hi to the host. Get the key. Whatever. Go to the room. Go to the loo. Lovely bit of the story. I go to the loo. I see a load of dead flies in the sink. I'm just like, okay, that's weird. I know that there's a lake nearby, and I know that I've been walking through a few like piles of flies, so whatever, there might be a few flies around, that's fine. Try and shut the window. I can't, because it's like landlord painted. When like you paint over a light switch and you can't actually press it, the window is in that sort of scenario, so I can't close the window. Okay, fine, whatever. Go back to the room and then sort of put my bag on the bed. Well, I have already put my bag on the bed. Put my camera down to the side, whatever, before when I got in, and then I look at the cover and I'm like, oh, there's a couple on here. Well, yeah, I guess it's, you know, it's connected. So as long as they're only on top, because then you just sort of shake it off, deal with it. Pull back the cover, and then there's a few on the bed underneath the cover, and that's when I'm a bit like, okay, this is obviously been sitting here. You haven't cleaned maybe since the last person came, which isn't ideal. They're still dead at this point. And then I see something on the bed that looks like just like a tiny, like thin strip leaf, like a, I don't know what sort of tree it is, but yeah, just a small little thing. I just go to flick it and it moves and runs away from me. And at that point I go, no, I'm not doing this. So I look on my phone to see, okay, is there anything else that's still available going around here? And that's when I realised that booking.com has another booking for me for a place in Garda tonight, which for some reason hadn't synced to any of my calendars last night. So yeah, a bit annoying that I didn't see that last night, but I'm thankful that I have that spare booking to fall on. So from there, I then decided, you know what, let's get to Garda. How do I do that as quick as possible? Grab a bus. Oh, there's a bus that's in like 10 minutes, let's run and get that. And I got that, and then I thought, let's get off early because I have a bit of time and it's nice, so I'll just walk a little bit at least of what I was going to walk tomorrow. Yeah, that's that in under a couple minutes. Anyway, I'm standing looking at this lovely view of where I'm going to end up tonight, hopefully without bugs in my bed. Anyway, look at this view. I wouldn't have been here if I hadn't have had that. Everything happens for a reason. That cloud looks really, really bad actually, doesn't it? Oh, I don't like you.
I don't know how I could forget that I booked a place, but as I was walking around the beach, there was quite a dramatic sky forming in the background, which either meant it was going to be a really beautiful sunset or it was going to get windy and rainy real soon. Garda is one of the places that is a beautiful place, but for me it's a little bit too touristy. That would be a theme as I approached my final day of Lake Garda. I even saw a Dotto train. The sky over the lake was incredibly dramatic, but I headed into town to find some dinner that I could just eat at the hotel before sleeping.
I regret nothing. I'm very happy I moved.
I decided not to sleep straight away and head back out as it was looking rather pretty outside. My very small sunset walk along the promenade was beautiful. Getting out the hotel in Garda early in the morning was nice. The busy touristiness of the day before had gone. Apart from one car which decided to park and ruin my shot, but that's fine. There was one more hill to do this morning, and that was La Rocca. It's literally a big rock that overlooks Garda. This was my last ascent and descent before the final flat bit all the way around to Peschiera del Garda. The viewpoint offered a really pretty view of where I'll be going and where I had been. It was nice to spend some time at the top of La Rocca, just sitting, just enjoying the piece, before some mountain bikers turned up. They were really friendly though. They said hi, just wanted a picture and, asked me where I was from and what the hell I was doing and why the hell I was doing it. And then they all went and took a wee around the place.
So this is where I'm going. I'm going somewhere over there. This is the last peak of the trip, of the walking part. Yeah, somewhere over there. It's been a really good couple of weeks and I don't want it to end, but it's going to end, so nothing I can do about that. But yeah, it's been really good because it's given me confidence to do this again, and that is something that I do want to do. What a place, eh?
After this, the rest of the lake was flat and notably more touristy. There were a lot of trailer parks and camping grounds. Where there were swarms of German tourists. It was a very pretty place, but this was the most touristy that it had been the entire trip. Being touristy has its upsides, so a lot of the towns were very well presented. Clean roads, flowers on the side, anything they can do to look happy, cheerful and get people back.
So, my viewpoint was at the top of La Rocca, that's the one at the centre. Down to the bottom left you'll see a Ferris wheel. I've walked past that. You might have been able to see that from the viewpoint.
The wind had also picked up and was blowing heavily onshore, which made the lake a lot rougher, and any sort of sand or dirt path would just whip up. So as I walked through harbours, I kept looking back up Lake Garda to where I had come from. Some of the towns here are quite old, and so have their old forts still standing, and you can still go through them. That, as well as weird paths bolted around harbours, made for a little bit of variation to the flatness. This maybe wasn't the most enjoyable day of the walk, but I would still take it any day of the week. I was also probably at my most tired by this point, so that didn't help. Looking back on it though, I'm extremely happy with what I did, and I love the views of looking back with the mountains in the background. It has sort of made me think for next time, I would like to bring a bike to this. I soon approached my hotel. I'd be staying on an island in the harbour, which was a little bit fun.
And that is my hotel for the evening. It is there. Hotel Johnson Bar. It's on an island and it's quite windy, so I don't know how much of the boats rattling I'll hear, but hopefully not. And that is Lake Garda done. I'm knackered. I could actually do with some sleep.
So I dumped my gear and went out to a restaurant to grab some more pizza. In the morning I'd be getting a train and going off to Milan, where I'd started my whole Italy trip all those days ago. But yeah, like I said, that was my last day of going down Lake Garda, and the next trip is just around the corner.
And we have arrived in Milan. Look at that, that's the station. It's quite impressive, isn't it? It's really impressive from inside.
I was going to Lake Como. I couldn't wait to meet up with Elisa. This is where my solo trip becomes our trip.